So what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Intermat Wrestling Podcast. And the four horsemen of Intermat are here and ready to talk about some nonsense that went on last week in the wrestling community. Jax Forrest committing, 'cause that happened after we had recorded last week. And then we're going to, I think we talked about this like maybe two shows ago, but we're going to revisit our preseason NCAA picks, or NCAA champion picks, I should say. Um, are we sticking or kicking is what we'll call it. Are we sticking with the guys that we picked, or are we kicking them to the curb and picking up somebody new? So, um, first off the top, before we, get into anything, let's talk nonsense. And there were there's been like a lot of stuff that's going on this year in wrestling that has had people talking and kind of taking sides. Um, celebration from, a nice little gun celebration that we talked about, Carter Sarachi and Gabe Arnold talking shit, which in another match it never came to fruition.
Seton Hall
Um,
Pirate bodying Carter Strachey this weekend on Twitter.
yeah, and the thing is that Seton Hall Pirate, that's just him.
That's
Like
just Brit.
he's just a matter of fact person. So it wasn't like he was like, yes, he has sarcasm and he's got humor, but that's like just him. And for people that have no
There's no
idea who he
nuance. There's
is,
no nuance at all.
yeah, and it's funny to see how people respond to him who have no idea that Carter is just Carter. Or excuse me, that Pirate is just Pirate. And
Yeah.
him responding to Carter is just like that's just how he speaks to people all the time. Um, so that was pretty funny. And I like had to look at how people responded to Pirate, and I'm like, these people have no idea. Like, this is a grown ass man, and this is literally just how he is.
And the man has an
So
abacus. That should tell you a lot
Yeah.
about him.
he does deeper dives when it comes to stats than most people, and it's yeah, he's just Pirate. Pirate is that's just him. So
Brit's a
while
good dude.
that was funny, the thing that I think Robbie, you might have mentioned it on Twitter. I know. Who else mentioned it? Brock said something.
Yeah, we
Um,
we both riled up the Iowa base this weekend.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was Terry going into the crowd, and I saw pictures of him like flexing with some Nebraska fans. So let's get into it. How do you guys feel? And I'm gonna let Robbie get the fans back riled up again and let him kick things off.
That's
But
fine. The
what
Iowa people haven't liked me my entire life, so I'm used to it.
what are your thoughts on this, right? Like we always say we don't want robots in the sport, right? We want people with personality. But then there are times where people do cross the line. But as we've seen with the Strickenberger little whatever you want to call it, the gun celebration or whatever, there were people that were on both sides of that, right? Where they're like, he went too far, or no, he didn't cross the line, whatever else. We've seen Terry do things over the years, whether it's a headstand or stand on a chair or whatever else, and now he's going in the crowd and messing with opposing fans. Did he cross the line, or is this just another Terry being Terry moment?
Well, I think it's Terry being Terry, but the issue that I had with it is that, and robot thing aside, like yes, we want coaches to have character and to be, you know, out there and put themselves out there and show their personality. That's great. The issue that I've highlighted is that one, that's a blatant violation of the rules to leave the bench and go into the stands, but that's not something that would happen or be tolerated in any other sport. Can you imagine an offensive coordinator leaving the sideline and going up into the stands to mess with a team, mess with a fan with the opposing team? It's just, it doesn't make sense. And, that interaction was wholesome, great. The backstory is like the guy got kicked out and Terry was vouching for him. Fantastic. That's great. But my issue was that just in general, Terry doesn't have a leash. He's allowed to get away with effectively whatever behavior he wants on the mat, off the mat, around the mat, apparently in the stands. And it's behavior that wouldn't be accepted by a lot of other programs, and a lot of other schools wouldn't tolerate it. Um, And that was my statement, was just that it's not something that we would ever see in another sport. And why should that be okay for our sport? And the reaction that I got was effectively split down the middle. And it was Iowa fans saying, I'm an idiot. I'm old. I hate fun. I don't know anything about wrestling. Uh, it's just Terry being Terry. Lighten up. All that, shit you get when people don't actually know what's going on or what you're trying to say. But the other side of it was, opposing fans or fans from opposing teams who have seen the same thing, who have seen Terry kind of run amok and do what he wants. And Brock kind of highlighted that as well in some of his posts. And you saw in the documentary they did on him, that Flo did on him. Like he is a wild card. He always has been. And at some point, we've got to have some expectations of what is and what isn't appropriate for a coach to do. And it's weird to me that it varies so much from program to program what's acceptable.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I mean, we we talked about egregious headgear tosses, before, and we've seen them, and team points get taken away for just like the slightest thing. And I mean, the fact that team points can get taken away is always
Yes.
going to be stupid to me. That's really dumb. But I think you're right, right? Like I think a lot of people choked it, just kind of chalked it up to Terry being Terry because, like I said, we've seen him stand on chairs or stand on his head or or do whatever on the bench, right? Like this, but this was different because he left the bench to go do it, which is what I think you're saying is like we have to have a little bit more decorum in that regard to leave the bench and go, whoop it up with fans, opposing fans at that, and for a guy to get kicked out and just like how it all transpired. And obviously, like I just saw pictures. I didn't see the clip, so I'm not going off of that. I'm seeing stories and what everybody is saying who were there. So obviously this is me reacting to what everybody is saying about how it happened, but like I do think that we need some sort of decorum, right? Because we don't see this from other teams. We don't see this from other coaches. Um, and I love the passion. I'm not one of those be a robot kind of a person. I've never been that kind of a person. When Chad Red won his fourth Indiana state title and he went and jumped in the stands, and that's something that we see when guys win titles. You go win a title, whatever else, you celebrate with fans or you dance, whatever else. Like, yeah, go have fun, but let's keep it in the lane, right? Um, so I think like the fact that there's only one person doing it is why people would be against it. But also, I was going to ride for Iowa. It's what they have always done and will always do, which is like the thing that kind of sucks is like you got to call out craziness when it crosses the line, no matter if they're wearing black and gold or blue and white, right? Like so yeah, I mean, like I said, I hate the whole robot talk, but I think if he keeps his antics to the bench area and he's not jumping into the stands during a dual meet or whatever else, like it's whatever to me. But like him standing on his head was hilarious. Like that was one of the funniest things. Like I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. I didn't have a problem with it. He's on the bench. Like you wanna do whatever. Like as long as you're not crossing the line, I'm good with
Yeah, and
it.
even
But
if you
like
want to mess with opposing fans from the bench, like if you want to jaw at people, it's not for me. Like that's not what I would do as a
which
coach. But
is which is funny because the week prior, the story is that Gabe Arnold was removed from the bench for talking to fans. So
mhm.
it just was like I guess it kind of a hypocritical type of a thing. If those stories are what they are, right? Like, and again, I'm taking it from other people who were there and saw it or talked about it or whatever else. You have Gabe Arnold getting into it with Penn State fans, and he's removed from the bench to protect himself. But you also have his own coach going into the stands in Nebraska and doing whatever.
Well,
Kevin,
it's fun. It's funny though because I think about that and I think about my dad. And my dad used to, and he would say it jokingly, knowing it was completely hypocritical, but he would say, "Do as I say, not as I do." Like,
yeah,
and he would laugh when he said it, but it's like I'm sure that's part of the sentiment. I talked about it with you guys after we recorded a couple weeks ago. Like Terry's in the background just shaking. Like he's like so into every single match. And I don't
Which I
mean that
love.
right. I don't mean that in a negative way at all. He's losing his mind, and we love it. Passion is something you cannot teach, and if it's completely disingenuous, it's lost on us, right? Um, so there's that piece of it. The other analogy I used in the group chat was just, he's the Draymond Green of this. He's broken the referees, and they're just like, just stay off the mat, Terry. If you stay off the mat, we'll be fine. Yeah. Just stay away from the mat. But it's funny because I was literally watching a Warriors game yesterday, and Draymond still gets technicals.
Yeah.
Like
probably easier than most. Honestly,
real quick. To be
honest.
honest.
But like, I think the point we're trying to get at is like, this is like super against the rules. You probably can't run into the stands. You still got to get called for a tech every once in a while.
Definitely.
At home, and hey, he's the backstory turning out to be better than the visual of him just getting in an opposing fan's face at home. Like, that's not something you can do, or that we condone, or that anyone should condone. But at the end of the day, this particular situation, I'm glad it's fine. I would be shocked if they're like, dude, stop running into the stands. Like, with how close that duel was, you gotta get it under control.
Yeah.
At least, like, remember when Barry Davis would like be so amped up that he would just go sit in the stands?
Yeah,
he would just be away.
Yep.
And they would interview him, and he's like, this guy from the stands and give answers to the interview. It was great. Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what we need from Terry. It's like, you go, if you're gonna just start running into the stands anyway, start there.
I think the thing that concerns me, and not that this is going to continue happening or that it's a multiple time incident, but like the idea that this is a sport where we have a lot of very amped up people in the stands, some of whom who are drunk, very behind their team, and generally a lot of testosterone and ego flying around. I don't think it's a good idea to run into the stands mid duel and engage with the opposing team, whether you're a multiple time national champ or not. Like, it's not a good look. And I don't know. That's what's that. I don't like the idea of a coach leaving the floor and going into the stands. And, I was at the UVA duel when I saw the picture of this, and I was talking to Garland, and I was like, what would happen if you were to do this? He said, I wouldn't have a job, because that's the reality of it, is like, that's a blatant violation of what you're expected to do as a coach. And, like you've said, he's broken the refs, and I think you could argue that there's probably a few coaches in the NCAA, and, with John Smith and his amazing vest collection having just retired, he was another one that had and got away with wild behavior and pushing boundaries with the refs that other people don't get away with. And it's hard to see that is not an equal expectation across the board.
Like I said, I think the only thing, like, if he's talking to this fan from the bench, he's talking to this fan from the bench. But like, leaving the bench, doing anything and interacting with fans like that, it's just not, I don't think it's okay, and like I said, I love Terry's passion. I think he's an absolute lovable maniac, or maybe as some people think he's an asshole, whatever it is. I don't think so.
Why not both?
I think honestly, every wrestler has that, right? Like, if you're not a bit of an asshole, you're probably not going to be very elite. Or, last in the sport, to be completely honest. You're just not going to last in sports in general if you're not a little bit of an asshole. But like, it's those kind of things where people hesitate to, I guess, like, apply accountability, because there are certain situations and certain people that do get a certain type of just leeway when things happen. So what do you guys make of Jax Forrest heading off to Stillwater and him and his very awesome teammate Bo Bassett splitting up the band once they decide to leave Pennsylvania.
I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, great fit for Jax. We kind of assumed that would happen. We kind of were, hinting that last week as that's our assumption, just based on who he's been training with, who's been in his corner at some of these events. I think it is interesting. He wrestled Gilman at the Olympic trials, and Gilman's going to be in his corner now. So that's a interesting dynamic. I don't think too many high schoolers have gone through, but
Gilman's just coaching all the guys that he wrestled against. First it was Fix, and now it's going to be Jax Forrest.
Well, it's funny how many coaches have had that experience, like where now you're like, hey, I beat you, 18 months ago. How about you come wrestle for me now? Right. But yeah, wild. I mean, it's awesome for the Cowboys. They're continuing to load up. They're putting together a really, really good incoming class to go along with, a lot of youth that's still going to be sticking around. Right. I mean, they're not losing much. They, even bringing in a guy like Caleb Fish or whatever, like, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the kid's name who's redshirting this year, but who was 157 last year for him, NCAA qualifier, and was really good. Same with 65 with Cam Amin. I mean, like, they're not losing talent when those guys graduate, right? They're just gonna reload and recycle those other guys in there, DJ Hamady as well. So they'll be just as good, if not better, next year.
Yeah, they pick up
the pocketbook too.
Yeah. I don't think as much as others are though.
No.
And that's the thing. I think we talked about that before too, is there are coaches that are staying traditional, and you're seeing how Taylor is a man of his word in regards to wanting to invest more in the RTC than in anything, because that RTC is going to be a huge builder of your actual recruits. Because recruits now, as they are worried about NCAA championships, they're more worried about maybe not so more, but the Olympics and the world titles and stuff is equally as important, right? The guys like Taylor, like Burrows, like Dake, they have, like Gilman, they have made it a way more popular talking point during recruiting of, well, what is, we're going to be there for 4 years, certainly. But what's going to happen on the freestyle side? Freestyle in the international side of things has become a lot more important. And I think for, a guy like Jax Forrest, we've already seen how important the international side is he's a high school junior and made the Olympic trials, right? Like, that's a very big deal. And so you definitely see how important that is. And then, even what was it last week where you're seeing how they're investing more in the RTC, where they brought in the heavyweight. Where was the heavyweight from? I missed that. I can't remember.
That's what I'm looking. I'm trying to find it right now, but yeah.
Some of them are Paris, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's the one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they're doing that, he is sticking by his statement of, we're going to invest in this. And then they're also getting, and their investment in folk style is with bringing national duels back as well. So I think they're doing great things, and who kind of wouldn't want to be a part of that? They get 2 of the top 5 guys, top 5 recruits in that class to commit to them verbally. Let's always make sure that we throw that in there until these guys sign. These are verbal commitments. And a lot
do they even
can
have
change.
Anything to sign anymore? Isn't that changing?
They
just
still
like a make-believe piece of paper.
No, they still do. The letter of intent hasn't gone away yet, because the House versus NCAA case is not done. So I think when that is completely done, they'll look more like contracts than anything, but they still have to sign something that they are going to be going to that school. And so there still is a letter of intent that they have to sign. But yeah, at some point there will be. But like I said, you got to remember, like, there's still verbal commitments. I mean, hell, if you go back through Kirkfleet's social posts, you'll see him in every single singlet, in a lot of different singlets before landing on the blue one that he wears now, right? There was a number of them that were in there. So these are verbal commitments. I do think that these guys are, I guess teenagers of their word. Can't even say like man of their word because they're 17. But like I think that they will stick with where they said they're going to go. But what are your guys' thoughts on the fit for Jax Forrest going to Oklahoma State? Robbie, I know you had something to say.
Yeah, style wise, I think it's great. I mean, I think he's going to fit in well with David, and I don't know, he's pretty wide open. And I think that's kind of what they're going for. I think it's a great place for him. I think it's going to be really good for him to be able to build his identity outside of being Bo's teammate. Um, we were talking about beforehand, but he's a fun Twitter follow. He's a funny kid. Um, and I think it's going to be nice that he'll be in a place where he's able to kind of show that personality a little bit too.
I agree
Yeah,
with
I think
that.
it goes to show the and we touch on every once in a while the marketability and how far that goes for a guy like Bo Bassett. You put Bo's stats in a hat with Jax Forrest, and they're pretty damn even. It's not like Bo is way better than the other. Obviously, they're both really talented guys, and Bo just has that marketability where his announcement was some huge big ordeal, and Jax's was just kind of a simple interview. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it. They're not saying they're not comparable, but I think Bo just has that marketability factor behind him, which takes him kind of over the top. And Jax, like you said, more laid back, a little more quiet, but every good as a talented wrestler too. And yeah, I just thought that was different. I thought that was unique in the difference of how those commitments were handled when, they're like 1 and 2 in the big board. They're really damn close to each other talent wise.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Marketability is certainly a big factor. And Jax Forrest, if people do not follow Jax Forrest, you should. He is really, really funny. The post, I think Robbie, is that you that shared it in our group?
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. Somebody posted about him getting paid like 6 million or something to go to Oklahoma State, and his reply was like, "Oh, really? That sounds awesome."
yeah, like, to see these guys interact with the I guess like the rumor mill of what they're getting and how he responded. It's pretty funny. I love when guys show personality outside of like just being a wrestler, which I think is pretty cool. And seems like a pretty cool laid back kid. And I mean, even down to when he tweeted something about, note to any other wrestler, don't commit when cutting weight, right? Like just different jokes and stuff that he's been putting out. So I think it is a good fit for him. I think it's going to be good for him to go to Oklahoma State, work with Gilman, work with Fix, um, and obviously work with Taylor and those guys too. But he'll certainly be probably more with Dayton Fix and Gilman and I think Zoe might still be around, and part of the RTC as well too. So it's a good fit, and that's also why I kind of thought that Bo would go to Oklahoma State. All Iowa fanship aside, I thought style wise, him working with Taylor would have been a really good fit, considering Taylor is a guy that we've seen attack like a rabid dog, similar to the way that Bo is. So um, that's why I thought that was going to be a really good fit for him, but is what it is. But the top five guys are off the board. Virginia Tech gets one, Oklahoma State gets two of them, Iowa gets one. And then what was the other one? Was it there's
Billy
two to
Blake?
Oklahoma State
No.
and yeah, and Blaze goes to has his Penn State.
Yeah.
Yeah. So gonna see some really good wrestling on the next level for that class. And it's
Or
awesome
Marcus
that
Blake.
they're all,
Yeah.
spread out too, right? Like, you know, yeah, Marcus Blaze. Good that they're
Yeah.
all spread out too, right? Like,
Joey's already committed.
yeah, he's got a team already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna see some pretty good competition certainly over the next couple of years. Not to say that we ever wouldn't, but when the top five guys are kind of spread out throughout the country, and you can't help but to get some really good matches between some different parity. But speaking of good matches, we made some picks, our NCAA champion picks at the beginning of the season. 3 months ago is when we made these picks. And I said we would come back to them. And now is the perfect time to take a look. We're a little over halfway through the season. And we're probably like a month away from NCAA. So we'll do another pick 'em before the NCAA tournament comes around. But let's take a look at our picks, play a little stickin' or kicking. At 125, I picked Figs. Robbie picked Ramos. Austin picked Noto, who is even at 125 at this point.
Terrible pick.
And Kevin picked Jory Volk, who isn't at 25 anymore either because of injury. So
Yes.
I am going to stick with my pick for right now. I'm going to stick with Figs.
That's
He
bold.
had I understand. I know that. I know that it is a bold move. I'm not gonna give up on him just yet, because he's had a season that hasn't had a lot of competition in it. So I'm not going to veer off because we've seen guys more than we've seen him. I think he needed time to recover from an injury, and the true tests are still coming kind of down the pipeline. So I'm going to stick with Figs at 125. Robbie, are you sticking with Ramos?
I think so. I mean, he's done nothing but impress all year long. He doesn't look like anybody's in a position to stop him. I think the other side to that is I very much see the possibility of the other finalists coming out of the ACC. 25 has really emerged as one of the deeper weights and top heavy weights for the ACC, and there's going to be a big showdown this weekend or in the next couple of weeks at 25 to see who's on top to get the top seed to go in. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Austin, who is now your guy since Noto is at 133?
You can still pick him.
He's having a rough season, but yeah, you can still pick him if you want. He might drop down. You never know. It's the end. It's that ascension plan. He might be coming down. But no, who are you taking at 25?
I'm gonna piggyback off what Robbie was saying. I really like Vincent Robinson. He looks strong. He's quick. I haven't seen him lose yet. Big win over
Nobody
Spratt.
has.
Technically, no, yeah. I mean, that injury default loss, if you count that.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Seen it. And that counts, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. Those count.
But
Those
I'm not
count.
counting.
I don't like to call that a loss though.
Yeah. I don't count it. But yeah, I like Vincent Robinson. Just really impressive. And I know the weight cut is a big pull for him, but assuming he has it under control, I like him.
He seems to. I mean, he's wide open. He's dangerous. That match with Ventruska in a couple weeks is going to be fun.
I want to see that one for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wish Volk was healthy. I do, because I think that a healthy Volk still would probably be very dangerous, and this is one of the more wide open weights that we're going to discuss. But call me the Kansas City Chiefs because I'm punting, and I'm going to go with Matt Ramos. Let's go. I got no reason not to.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I'm sure that made Austin pretty happy as he's rocking his Eagles jersey. That was a Lehigh Valley led team, by the way. Just letting you guys know, there were 2 guys on that team from Lehigh Valley that put in some work. So just to remind you.
And there was an Iowa guy. Let's remind the Iowa fans that we don't hate them.
That's true. Cooper.
Yeah. Cooper DeJean. First interception of the year, and it goes for a pick 6 in the Super Bowl on his 22nd birthday.
His birthday. Yeah. Him and
big day.
Him and Saquon Barkley share a birthday. Isn't that something? Speaking of Saquon, he just quote tweeted that clip of him wrestling as a little kid, and said, "Live by the headlock, die by the headlock." But let's move to 33. And at 133, I went with Bird. Robbie was with Bailey. Austin had Crookham, and Kevin took Davis. So, Kevin, I'm going to start with you because I'm still trying to make up my own mind of whether I stick with Bird or not. What are you thinking? You sticking with Davis, or are you going to continue to be the Kansas City Chiefs in this regard?
Dude, this weight is so nuts. Because like I can still convince myself that healthy Braden Davis coming back could win it all. Um, I could start talking myself into Braxton Brown at this point, right? Like just to had a nice win over Bizakis over the weekend, or no, Shaver, that's what it was. Well, my initials are KC, so I'm gonna punt again. Um, I'm gonna go Drake Ayala. Let's go Iowa. Let's have Terry run into the stands or throw him like he did Corey Clark. No, Clark threw him. That's what it was.
Clark threw him.
Yeah.
Austin, you
we had Drake. Drake had a big L this past weekend, but it was a different Drake, so we're fine.
Yes, very true. It was not a good week for Drake's. The non-singlet wearing Drakes.
We're going to start off strong for the singlet wearing ones right now.
Austin, are you sticking in the IWA, or are you holding out hope and faith that he comes back? First of all,
I was just about to say, as the weeks go on here, I think there's better chance we do see him at EIWAs. And there's still questions of him returning before that to get 3 more matches under his belt to get that 8-match minimum. I don't think we'll see that, but I do think we'll see him at EIWAs.
Let's not send him to any of these tournaments where he wrestles for 2 seconds and they default. Let's not do that. Let's not have that happen.
That's allowed anymore, but yeah, I hope not. And I don't think Crookham the guy to do that. I think you go out and tech fall the guys and get off the mat quick. But
probably not 2 seconds though.
Well, I don't know. I've seen
that'd be impressive.
Yeah,
seen some stuff.
I'm gonna stick with him. Assuming he's back. I think he's still the top dog there.
Robbie?
I don't know. It's hard to pick Crookham just because of the unknown. I think 33 is a pretty crazy weight. I could definitely see Bailey still winning it. Him getting pinned by Seth Romney is kind of weird. I think I'm gonna stick with it. I think I like that. Yeah, let's stick with this year.
Yeah, I'm torn between agreeing with Robbie or agreeing with Kevin. As much as I would love to see Crookham win it, I think he wins it next year. I don't know. He is the question mark of whether or not he is fully healthy, so it's tough to go that route. And I did say, what was this? I think at the end of last season that Bailey would be the first NCAA champ for Little Rock. So I'm gonna go with Bailey. I'm gonna be a man of my word and stick with Bailey or go with Bailey. Change from Bird to Bailey. I reserve the right to change back to Bird, but
you just don't like short kings. That's all.
I am all for Team Short King, and I love that they did a what was it, Big Ten did a nice little mini doc on him and
don't
his.
Don't call him mini.
Girl.
That's not nice.
I did not. I said the documentary was mini.
Oh,
he is a short king through and through. I love Lucas Bird, but I want to see more offense from him. I really, really do, and that's the only reason why I'm moving off of Lucas Bird, even though a couple years ago at NCAAs his offense was clicking and he gave Dayton Fix all he wanted. He hasn't been that guy very much so yet this season, where his offense has been. He's just like he's kind of like Iowa. He's kind of keeping it close to the vest, I guess. But I'm gonna go Bailey, and I still have faith in Lucas Bird. Had a very nice dinner with a mutual friend of ours. You guys know him as Jacob Casper. Others know him as Mr. Julius Creed. And
Jacob's the man.
He talked about how they talk, and he tries to give them some tips and whatever else, just kind of letting it go and saying, who cares if you lose? You got to kind of pull the trigger at some point. So yeah, still got a lot of faith in Bird, but I'm gonna switch over to Bailey, and I think that Bailey, as I said, man of my word, is going to be the first NCAA champ for Little Rock. At 141, I'm also going to punt, and I had a Lirez. Um, Robbie, you had Brock Hardy. Austin had
Whoa, that was
Mendez.
bold.
Very. Even though Brock Hardy looked very good this year. Um, Austin had Mendez and Kevin had a Lirez, just like I did. And I'm going to jump on the Mendez bandwagon with Austin. It is very tough for even in a close win that he recently had, he's still the man. He is still the man. Even on his worst nights, he's better than the rest. So give me Mendez. That's who I'm changing my pick to as we move forward. Robbie, you gonna stick with Hardy or are you changing up your pick?
I'm gonna go Team Mendez. He's been so impressive this year, just getting everything done that he wants to get done, and it just I don't. He's been really fun to watch, and I don't see. I mean, there's certainly some competition there from Bartlett and Hardy that he's gonna have to get through in the Big Ten tournament, but he just looks so good. So I'm gonna go Mendez.
We do have an NCAA rematch that could potentially happen this week with the Mendez and Bartlett. It's Penn State, Ohio State. We'll talk about that later, obviously, but could be seeing it this week. Austin, you sticking with Mendez as we're all switching to Team Mendez right now?
I'm staying on the train. I've been conducting it since the beginning. You guys can hop on the bandwagon if you want.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get there. We'll get to heavyweight, but that's not the only train we've been conducting this year. We're waiting for
Look,
some
I'm
other
not.
guys to get
I'll
on.
stab you. I'm not above it.
Kevin, what are you staying with Alirez or
Oh,
are
you're
you
damn right. I'm staying with Alirez. Yeah. You know what's more dangerous than a normal Alirez? Like a chip on my shoulder, people stop believing in me, Andrew Alirez. Like that dude's just quietly sitting back there in Greeley, Colorado. Like, all right, let's let's stay on this match track and let's get the good ones in when we can and let's finish this out in March. Go
It
get
has
Yeah,
it.
been a quiet
he's getting to
season.
double digits soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Hey,
quiet season for him.
all you need is a couple matches. He's got them.
Bro,
This is very true.
Hold on, let me see real quick.
He's 9-0.
So yeah, he'll have to wrestle Cale Happel, Tegan Jameson. It's not like the Big 12 sucks. Jacob Frost, like he'll go through some good competition. Schwartz, Edmond, Hayden
Yeah, you
Drury.
eventually have to get there.
Yeah. So this will be
Theoretically.
fine. And this is not me taking anything away from Jesse Mendez, mind you. He has. I
Mhm.
agree with everything you guys have said. And shout out, by the way, to Vance Vonbauer. That was one hell of a match, even in the loss.
That was a great match.
But I've already punted twice. You think I'm going to punt 3 times in a row? It's fourth down. I'm going for it, baby. We're across the 50.
Yeah, if that Austin smiling because he watched that turnover on downs over the weekend. The football puns are going to keep on coming. Where the Super Bowl just happened, so we
That's
got to get them
right.
in while we can. Um, Moving on to 149, and I'm going to start with Austin on this one. Austin, you went with Shane Van Ness. Kevin, you had Ridge Lovett. Robbie, you had Henson. I know that's not going to change. And I had Ridge Lovett. So I'm going to start with Austin. Are you sticking with Shane Van Ness?
oh, this is tough. I think I do, but there's just something inside me that thinks love it, gets the job done. Um, Parker beat him 3 times. I don't think that beating Lovett a fourth time is really freaking hard, but
Beat
yeah,
him 3 times is hard.
I mean, obviously, yeah, but fourth time's even harder from what I've heard.
One time seems really tough.
Yeah, like
I
how many?
mean,
Maybe
if you
maybe
ask,
now we give credit to Parco for doing it at all.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if you ask Van Ness, one time is hard to beat Ridge Lovett because Ridge
Yeah.
Lovett got it done in
yeah,
in pretty impressive fashion this year. So
yeah. I'm gonna stick with Van Ness. Just to think some of that Penn State magic is gonna rub off on him, and yeah, but there's part of me that wants to pick Lovett too. So, but I'll stay with Van Ness.
all right, so sticking with Van Ness, Kevin, you sticking with Lovett?
feel like I'm gonna punt a lot down the road here, so I might. I know what heavyweight I am. I'm gonna stick with Lovett. Yeah, what the hell? I'm gonna do this. I've never done this before. I don't know. Is that what he does?
That looks more like an 8.
Eight, yeah.
There's
The Ocho.
there's the hard up.
Yeah.
Robbie, make the most
Hitman, next question.
anticlimactic. Yeah, there we go. I'm sticking with Lovett as well. I think this is the first weight that we've all stuck with our pick.
Let's go.
I think once we get a little closer, there might be some changes, but it's
Nope.
Well, and
man.
even Austin wanted to switch. He said he's like, I feel like
that's what I'm
Lovett
saying.
gets it
There's
done.
gonna be there could potentially be some changes. Obviously, Robbie is the Rock of Gibraltar. He's not moving, but there could be some other changes that do happen. I even though I would love to see Lovett get it done, I can be swayed because the way that things looked for him against Parco and how he looked really good against Van Ness. I don't know if you can duplicate that. That's the hard part for me is can you duplicate that against Van Ness, who we saw beat Parco, who has beaten Lovett. So been a lot of transitive property going on so far this year in some of these weight classes.
It's a
Up
shame that
next.
2 through 4 ranked are all Big Ten, so it's not going to fall
Mm-hmm.
in you don't know how the seeding's going to fall at NCAAs. I think whoever wins Big Tens will probably get that 2 seed, I would imagine. And then, whoever else is left going to get thrown in the bracket somewhere, probably like a 4 seed and a 6 or something crazy like that. But I'd love to see those 4 make the semis at NCAAs.
Yeah, it'd be a good
If you
time.
didn't see it, go back and watch Henson absolutely murder Jaden Abbas this weekend at Stanford, 17-1. It's he's scary right now. I would not.
Glad
I
that he's
wouldn't be on
healthy.
that with him. Yeah.
Glad that he's healthy. Because that's ultimately what you want is you want everybody to be healthy at the end of the year, right? Like that's what you ultimately want. So, if he was going to sustain an injury at any point during the year, glad it was at the beginning. Um,
Yeah. Him and McNeil at the ACCs is going to be fun.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. 57. It was Kevin going with Shapiro. Actually, all of you guys went with Shapiro. I went with Teamer. Um, I'm I'm punting to Kasich because why not? That he showed up and he has continued to show up this year time after time. So I'm gonna switch and take the man from Pennsylvania. Robbie, you sticking with Shapiro?
Sticking. He's looked damn impressive in every match he's been in. His only loss is an injury default, and he looks strong coming back.
Doesn't count.
Well, according to Britt, it does.
True.
According to Brit, it does. Austin, kicking or sticking?
I'm sticking with Meyer. Looked good this weekend. He's going to keep wrestling more matches, get that confidence back in him. I just think he's a little unorthodox, really funky, really good at scrambling, and obviously Kasich is too, but Kasich has to go through Big Tens, which is a little more challenging than Ivy's. So Kasich could take a loss there or,
Well, he
something.
does have a loss to Jimmy Harrington, so
Injury default. Doesn't count. Back in
just
early,
saying he's in the Ivy too.
that was ages ago. Early November. That was
Yeah, but
last
that's the
year.
thing
It was
that
last year.
will yeah that's gonna change the seating though with him taking that default loss. That's gonna play a role. Him and Shapiro both taking injury default losses because they count.
Yeah.
So see how that works.
When
Kevin,
you
you
think if they
sticking?
both win conferences, they'll be 1 and 2
Yeah.
regardless, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I am sticking with Shapiro as well. I did want to make sure to shout out Ethan Miller, though. He is the only undefeated wrestler at 157 pounds,
Who
and
could potentially be the one?
right. He's wrestled really good competition so far this year. It looks like he'll have a rematch with Joey Blaze this Friday. Then they wrestle Drexel the following Friday. So, I mean, if he gets that, if he, obviously is able to get another win over Blaze, that would be one thing. And then if he can secure it with Drexel too, then yeah, he'll go in and should probably be the number one seed at that point. But yeah, I'm going Shapiro. He's a very dynamic wrestler. Kasich has looked awesome, but he has a loss now to Ethan Miller. So
There you go.
Yeah, that concussion is concerning too.
yeah, that's not like not a good. There's no good time of year to get them, but like particularly now, no.
Yeah. So everybody's sticking except for me, who's going to switch to Kasich instead of Teamer, only because I don't know how healthy Teamer is. You
He's
know,
back this weekend, I heard.
yeah, I mean, we'll certainly see. It's probably kind of like a Gabe Arnold load management kind of a thing for him. Only it makes sense for Teamer because he was injured. So yeah,
What's the minimum match threshold for RPI? Is it 9?
Or 8?
I
Because
think
he's
it's
only got 5 matches right now.
yeah,
So he's going to have to get some matches in.
I think it's 9. Um, yeah, it's eight or 9. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Moving on to 65. We got 3 Messenbrinks and a Ramirez. The EIWA Homer in Austin surely came out.
Interesting.
So what are we thinking, Austin? You changed into Ramirez?
Was I on drugs for this one? No. Now Ramirez is obviously solid, and I liked him coming in the year, but Messenbrink is just a whole other animal, and no one's touching Messenbrink. So yeah, I gotta love you, Julian Ramirez, but I gotta go with Messenbrink. He's looking really good.
Were we picking guys to All American last time? Because even that's like tough for Ramirez. Like
Austin was hoping and wishing is what happened when
Yeah,
we
he's
made
a
our picks last time.
three-year round of 12 guy. I want him to get the job done at least. Get on that podium, Ramirez. Love that guy. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't realize how good Messerbrink was. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sticking as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any change here. So yeah.
Way to make
Up
165 suck by being so awesome.
Stop
Yeah.
teching literally everyone.
Yeah.
Wrestle a full match, right? Like what's wrong with you?
Got no stamina.
74. We've got me and Austin who took Levi Haynes and Robbie and Kevin who took Keegan O'Toole. I am sticking with Haynes, and reason being is because I said it that when we made our picks before, and I used the same logic last year when it came to literally this weight, at 65, where Carr ended up winning the title. Whoever loses during the duel will win at NCAAs, and I picked Haynes to win NCAAs, which indicated completely that I thought Keegan O'Toole would win during the duel, which he did. So I'm going to stick with my pick of Levi Haynes to win at 174 pounds. Robbie, you going to stick with Keegan O'Toole?
I'm going to go full wild card here.
Oh boy.
Lorenzo Norman.
Whoa.
He's looked fantastic. His only loss is a 4-3 loss to Hamidi. He's young, but he's dangerous, and I think he's going to surprise some people.
Do you think he
Interesting.
surprises Keegan O'Toole and Levi Haynes and DJ Hamity? Or do you think he surprises like a Brevin Casella?
My concern is Keegan's health, and that's who I would like to see win. I think it would be great to see him go out on top, but I am concerned with where he's at, and if he's going to be fully healthy, because he's going to need to be to make a run. Levi Haynes is fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of good choices here. I don't think there's a wrong choice really in the top probably 4 or 5 that they could all have a real good shot. But if Austin could pick Julian Ramirez, then
That's what
I can pick Lorenzo Norman.
Yeah, same logic.
Wild card.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, laugh now. Wait till it happens.
Great reference.
No, I thought
You
wild card
mean
Dean Ham.
next year?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm sticking with O'Toole. Like, yeah, there's obviously injury concerns, but I think the whole point of him missing as much time as he has been for them to say, like, look, dude, especially with Missouri, right? Like, our whole team is hurt. It's not like you
Yeah.
need to rush back to like save some hope, but like
Our
resurrecting
pets' heads are
our
falling
record.
off.
Right. Like, seriously, just like, dude, like finish out your career with us on top and, come back and we'll make sure that conditioning wise, we've got you where you need to be. But, yeah, that guy is still special. So,
Yeah, I think I'll change my pick back when we do this again in a couple weeks, but I
you
want to
think
see him
so?
back on the mat. Yeah, probably.
For now, we've got it on record that you went full
Yeah,
wild
wild
card
card.
a
You
month
made me
out.
completely lose. I wanted to shout out Garrett Thompson, not like as a pick to win it, but like,
For not being eligible in the second semester.
dude, he's 25-5.
He's not eligible. He's
He's not
done.
eligible.
Garrett Thompson?
From
You're thinking of
Ohio?
you're thinking of the
Ohio.
157 pounder.
Oh, Keller. Yeah.
Keller,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
You're
Keller.
right.
Sweet.
My bad. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Garrett Thompson has looked phenomenal. He lost a bunch of matches like early in the year and has just been on a tear and just beat the snot out of Alex Kramer in their dual meet, and that made me sad. But but yeah, wanted to shout him out. He looks good. And also Cleveland
That's fair.
State. I know it's not the same thing, but Ohio and Green. There we go.
Two Mac guys in the top 7, Claunch. Makes you a happy guy over there.
Damn right it does.
There you go. Next
I'm
we've got
sticking with Haynes, by the way, too.
sticking with Haynes.
Yep.
Yeah, I figured you would. Well, didn't you say that? No, sorry, that's my bad. Yeah, sticking with Haynes. So we've got two Haynes, an O'Toole, and a Norman. Okay. Next we've got three Strachis and Robbie with Keckeisen. I'm sticking with Strachi.
Me too.
Robbie?
Fuck it. Panther train.
Lorenzo Norman. He's winning both.
Nope. Parker's got the hairline. Team receding hairline here. Go Parker.
There you go. All right. Austin, you sure you don't want to switch to Chris Foca? There's still time.
Maybe next week or 2 weeks. We'll see.
Nah, Foca, I love Foca. Just trying to poke at Austin's homer side, even though Robbie's homer side is probably worse than anyone's.
It's pretty strong. Not gonna lie.
It's really strong.
Real quick,
90. Go ahead.
hold on. I'm just scrolling down at 184, and like after you get past basically, those top 4 guys, I guess Foca's only got the one loss, but it's just wild. Once you get like top 10 and below, there's like 5, 7, 9, 5, 4, 6 in loss categories. Like all these dudes are just beating each other. It drops off pretty heavy after that. But
I will say this: I cannot wait for when does Penn State? No, Penn State and Minnesota do not wrestle. I cannot wait to see Max McAnally wrestle Carter Sirachi, which will most likely happen in the Big Ten final. Because Max he's looked very good this year. Good. When Eggum said like this guy can do some damage this year, and he, when I asked him, I was like, "Who's this year's Tyler Wells?" Because Wells was, 1 point away from being an AA last year. Max McAnally is lighting it up, 17-0 as a freshman. Obviously he's a redshirt freshman, but yeah, he goes after it. So yeah, really love that kid. I mean, what's gonna suck for him is that he'll be on the same side of the bracket as Carter, which will most likely happen. Plot is going to be
you're talking
3.
NCAAs.
NCAAs,
yeah. Okay.
Plot will be the 3. Big Tens, they'll be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But Plot will be the 3. I think it'll probably go just the way it is. 1 through 4
You think if
the way
Plot
it
gets
isn't.
the third loss in the year, and
Yeah, because both his
Yeah.
losses are to Keckeisen.
Yeah, he'll take a third to Keckeisen.
Yeah,
Oh.
his only losses are to Keckeisen. He lost to
Assuming-
Keckeisen in CKLV final and then in the duel.
Isn't it like his only losses the last 2 years at a Kickeisen?
Yeah, he hasn't lost to anyone else but Keckeisen for the longest time. Yeah, it's been a while.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does. So yeah, but no, I think Plot will still get the 3. His third loss will most likely be to Keckeisen in the Big 12 finals. Because I don't really see anybody else beating him, but
you should split that up. That's stupid.
it's kind of tough to do. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
I mean, I would make if I'm Minnesota, I'd make the argument, hey, my guy has one loss to the 4-time national champ. He should be the 3 compared to 3 losses.
Assuming that happens.
Assuming it happens, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe
do
he
think
beats him in
that's
the
a
finals
strong.
and it just takes care of itself.
Well, and
That
then
is a strong argument. Yeah.
the other argument you could make then is that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 12 guys are Big Ten guys. So it's not like he's wrestled nobody.
Also that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, does definitely have a chance to be the 3. Yeah, you're right about that. You are certainly right about that.
So circling back at 84, TJ Stewart seems to have found his swagger again. So he's
saw him throwing dudes. What the hell happened there?
Dumping people on their heads again. So it sounds like his mind's back in the right spot and he's making a run like he did last year. So watch out for him.
Second semester kind of guy.
First
97.
semesters always suck anyway.
Yeah. 97. I'm going to be punting, but I'm gonna start with Kevin. Kevin, you had Cardenas, Austin had Beard, Robbie had Cardenas, and I had Ferrari. Kevin, you sticking with Cardenas?
I as much as I want to, like the visuals of that, like he couldn't set up his offense at all against Barr. It was just dropping to that knee and trying to shoot that double. And for being a smart guy, giving up the reversal at the wrong time, man, that was hard optics. It's hard optics. On the flip side, you got Stephen Buchanan over there just beating up everybody, making his coach go try to fight people in the stands. I'll be punting twice in a row again. Yeah, I'm going to punt. I'll take Stephen Buchanan.
Buchanan for Kevin. Austin, how are you feeling? EIWA homer?
I mean, Beard wasn't a terrible pick. And then he wrestled Josh Barr and kind of got his butt whooped.
Turns out that's a good loss.
This year.
Yeah. Turning out, it was, Barr, freshman, getting whooping up on Beard. What's going on there? And then Barr.
Did Beard give up a reversal in the last 10 seconds to lose that one? I don't remember.
Beard gave up a lot of takedowns, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
It's his only loss of the season, though.
It is, yeah. Yeah, just something about that Barr and Buchanan match. I think Barr reverses that, so I think I'm going to jump on the Barr train. And if not, I'll go to the bar and drink if I get it wrong.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, everyone wins.
Everybody
wins. Robbie, you also had Cardenas. What are you thinking here at 97?
I don't even know. This weight is weird. God. I mean, it's hard not to like Josh Barr right now. Like as great as he's looked and as dangerous as we know that Penn State guys are at the end of the year. But Buchanan's looked great too. I don't like Ferrari. He hasn't had any competition all year. His best win is against Nick Stemmett, and that's not, a great win.
I mean, emojis were on the line. You think he was really going to give that one up?
No, he's not going to give up the smoke like that. Vroom, vroom, fast car.
Competition, that video that just came out with those dumbbells, they weren't going down to his chest.
Yeah, that's hard competition. The pecs won't unlock enough to get all the way down.
That's because they were heavy.
No
And
excuse.
theoretically, they should move easier.
Yeah. He held him up pretty well, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, no
I
excuses.
think techniques have
I
changed
don't
since
even
we got
know.
to school, guys.
I think Josh Barr. I think that's what I'm going to lean with now. That's I think this is one where we're going to be bouncing back and forth until the end of the year, and nobody really knows how it's going to shake out.
Big Ten should be fun.
Yeah,
I want to
Max
go to the
Stats
bar
won
with
like
you and
17
Austin.
straight and looks fantastic. So I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
going Buchanan, man. I'm getting rid of the fast car, and
Don't blame you. Insurance got to be crazy.
yeah, I'm a luxury. I'm a luxury guy anyway. I'm gonna go with the big body Benz, and that big body Benz name is Buchanan. So that's what I'm going with. Um, yeah, I do drive a Benz, and it's not a. It's the name is now. I'm gonna now call my car Buchanan. Is what I'm gonna do. Because it just works. Just works. What?
Steve the car.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Getting rid of that fast car and gonna go up Buchanan.
Your Benz cost 500,000 too, or
It did not.
allegedly?
Certainly it did not.
Hmm.
No. It does
It's cheaper
deadlift
than a new
600.
machine gun, though.
It does deadlift 675 pounds though.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now on to heavyweight, and I mean
Another
we're
Steve.
gonna see if Robbie, finally
going.
comes to
Oh,
his
nope.
senses
Mm-mm.
on and gets on the Trumbull train, because we've been trying to get you here for the
I hate you.
longest
I
time.
hate you all. I hate you all.
Every week we're talking about how good Trumbull is and how you're late to the party. But no, these picks were made before Gable came back. So we've got two Kirkfleets between myself and Austin. Robbie is rolling with Trumbull, and Kevin with Feldman. So I'll go to Kevin first, because I know he said he wanted to punt. And are you getting on the Trumbull train? Is that what's going to happen?
Dude, you know what I just realized? Everyone's punting. This is not like my fault that I
Whoa,
picked
speak for
wrong.
yourself.
We're
Speak for
all
yourself.
punting.
People are punting.
I am punting once again, because at this point I have a strong lead. I don't need to go for it anymore. We're just gonna kick it. Whatever.
Pin him
Take
deep.
it back. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna take Gable Steveson. You might know him from the Olympics, or putting his shoes on the mat the last time he won an NCAA title.
We're having 4 senior nights.
Yeah, he also played for the Buffalo Bills and
made an appearance in the WWE. Yeah.
Yeah, and was fighting John Jones. So, and then since doing all that, he's decided to just come back and beat everybody at this really, really, really hard thing to do again.
And his brother Bobby was just in a Super Bowl commercial.
Which one?
The Circle
His brother.
bottle. His brother Bobby was in the Circle commercial, like the Circle water bottles.
Oh my God, I'll have to rewatch that one.
He posted it. It is on his social media, so you can go watch it. But yeah, he's in that Super Bowl commercial.
I liked the Seal one where Seal was a seal.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty good. But yeah, the Stevensons are continuing to do big things. They play for the Bills. They win Olympic titles. They're in Super Bowl commercials. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Olympic champion as well. Even though I will say that I think and this is probably going to piss off Robbie, I do think that it is a match that comes down between him and Hendrickson, honestly. I think Hendrickson has looked really, really good, and I think he beats Kirkfleet to make the finals against Gable. Maybe that is some wishful thinking, but maybe not wishful thinking, but maybe I just want to see that match. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Olympic champion. Surprise, surprise. Austin, you punting as well?
Yes, I will go with Gable who was named after a pretty good wrestler himself. So I'll go with
Jeff
Gable.
Gable.
Clark.
Clark.
Yeah, go ahead, Robbie. You're up.
Go ahead, make your case. The Trumbull Rumble.
He's looked better in his second match against everybody so far.
How'd the first one go?
Not well, not well. Uh, I feel like I have to stick with the brand. Like I feel like
I mean,
it'd
you're
be
really late to the
disingenuous.
party on this, but I mean, it's about damn time.
Look, so next week when I go down to Raleigh, I'm taking him some raw milk from our cow. So I think that's going to power him through. Sticking with it, Trumbull.
Trumbull train rolls on. So, gentlemen, these are our picks. We also made a team pick. I think we obviously all went Penn State, but
I picked
two
Drexel.
you did. That is correct. 2, 3, and 4. Things look a little bit different now than what they did at the beginning of the season. We will get the match between Iowa and Oklahoma State. So we'll see how they match up that way. Obviously, tournaments are very much so different. Oklahoma State had a really good showing at CKLV, which is essentially the only true like big tournament measuring stick that we get during the year comes in basically in the first month of the season. Um, who are we thinking fills out the 2, 3, and 4 spots after Penn State? After Penn State breaks their record, by the way, is what I think is going to happen. I think it's
Yeah, I think so too.
they break their record. Everybody on the podium this year, literally.
I think that hinges on the health of Kasek. That would be my only argument there because I am a little leery with a concussion this late in the year.
And Braden Davis too, for that matter. I mean, they do have some
Yeah.
guys who are out right now, and but yeah.
Yeah, but they're probably down training in the room right now. If we stick with the theme of broken ankles, nah, he's in the room training right now. Do
right
we
next to that
do
chair
we
they threw down there?
Yeah. Do we think that Oklahoma State takes over? I mean, the top 5 are Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, and Minnesota. Those are our top 5 in tournament rankings, by the way. Dual meet rankings look a little bit different where it's Penn State, Oklahoma State, Iowa, Northern Iowa, Nebraska. Minnesota is 6th when in dual meet rankings. So tournament rankings, I think the way that it looks right now, I feel like Minnesota jumps Nebraska and places 4th. I think they battle Oklahoma State for 3rd. I think that one is going to be very close. I think 2, 3, and 4 will be very close. It's going to be within a couple of points, 2 through 4. That order, I'm still figuring out in my head. I think obviously the duels will give us a pretty good indication of what that looks like. The Oklahoma State Iowa duel will give us a pretty good indication of what that looks like. We just had Iowa Nebraska. Was that last week? So that tells you just how close those teams are. Obviously, like I said, Penn State winning it, but man, Iowa, Oklahoma State, and Minnesota is who I think place the top 4, and Nebraska not far behind, but I feel like they come in 5th. What are your guys' thoughts on who rounds out that top 4?
I've got pretty much the exact same thing. I think if Ayala makes the finals, if you get Buchanan in the finals, if you get maybe a Parco in the finals or at least the semis, like that's a lot of team points. And none of what I just said seems completely insane. Minnesota, I think it's in there just by having, at least the champ with Gable. You get a McAnally in the semis, or you get, a nice run like Bombauer had last year. Maybe he gets higher on the podium. They've got the horses, at all 10 weights. Whereas some of the, I think Oklahoma State's had some ups and downs with some of their guys. I think it would be a stretch to say, they're going to have 8 guys All-American this year. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I don't know that Nebraska's going to have 7, right? So that's I think where the consistency, you just have more, bites at the apple. Some of those other teams.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Iowa has, assuming things go how we think, they'll have higher seeds, which means, they'll have better past the finals, third, fourth place matches. I think Oklahoma State kind of has to go above and beyond just a little bit of what they're projected right now to get second place. Um, on the flip side, Iowa, one of those guys goes down early and, has a bad tournament, it could be over for them too. But yeah, I do like Iowa 2, Oklahoma State 3, and I do like Nebraska in 4. So I think I agree with both you guys there.
I think my only wild card is health for some Iowa guys because we don't know what's going on with Teamer. We don't really know what the situation is at 84 and what that's going to look like. What kind of run that Gabe is going to be able to make there. I think Iowa's probably firmly in the top 4. Oklahoma State's firmly in the top 4. I think Nebraska, Minnesota, Northern Iowa is another one to look out for. They have a really deep lineup that can make a lot of runs. I like the idea because if I have Keckeyes and winning, that bumps them up. So I could see them sneaking in the top 4. But I think Iowa, Oklahoma State. Let's throw Northern Iowa top 4. I think they have some wild cards in there that can make some things happen.
Yeah, I really like Northern Iowa, and not just because I'm a Doug Schwab fan, right? Like I think their lineup, they gave Oklahoma State a battle during that dual meet, and it was tough, right? So, we've seen them do well in tournaments, we've seen them do well in duels, and they are a team of consistency where year after year they consistently just get tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. Not that the other teams don't, but it's just such a brand for them. It is such a brand for Schwab to have that team just looking him and Roper. It just looks so different. And I don't know, like
art and cauliflower ear.
It just, man, I tell you, like, and that's the thing is like, and those guys are quiet about it, right? Like they're very under the radar, probably because they're in the conference that they're in, and they aren't one of the, they're not in Oklahoma State, but just the things that Schwab has his team doing later in the season is always impressive. So I can see them, being in that mix too and battling with Nebraska or Ohio State, or Minnesota for, that number 4 spot, right? Like those are, I think if anyone, I feel like Minnesota can certainly do what they do, and what they've been doing all year, because they do have every single guy in their lineup ranked, and guys that are really shining outside of, what Gable has done, or is, what we think Gable's going to do, I guess. But that will be a very interesting battle too. Like as the parity from the teams that are ranked 2 through 7 is going to be really, really fun to watch. Penn State, they're in their own stratosphere, and it's going to be fun to watch their score and how things go for them, of if they can top what they did last year. But that 2 through, like I said, these teams ranked 2 through 7, it's going to get very interesting, very, very quickly to see what they can do, whenever we get to Philly. So that's going to be really interesting for me.
Well, if
go ahead.
Real quick on Northern Iowa, if you're going to make the same argument about getting national champs, there's nothing that says that Keckeisen can't go out there and get it done and bonus his way through the tournament, just like
he's done it once,
right? Maybe not through the tournament, maybe it's a regular decision in the finals, God forbid, right? But like he could very well do that. And then you got Ryder Downey, you've got other guys in that lineup that are kind of in there at some of those weights. So
I think the thing I like about them is that in a tournament setting, you're not going to have any quit from them, and they're going to scrap every second on those backside matches. And there's, some teams you don't necessarily feel like that's going to be the case. So I think that gives them, with their depth and with their top end talent, that gives them a really good chance at breaking into the top 4.
Didn't Doug Schwab get in trouble for like wearing a hat in the corner once? Like, what if
Probably.
he ran into the stands?
I don't know if it was like I think it was like it was like team attire. Like it was like maybe like a quarter zip
It
or
was a
something like
sweatshirt.
that. It was like like a sweatshirt or something. It was team attire. And yeah, he got in trouble for it. And I think they lost the team point
I
or
think
something
that
like
I
that.
feel like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Something really
it,
stupid.
it makes
Should
sense
have
in the
gone to the
way that
stands
it
and got
makes
something
sense
different.
because it's dumb. Yeah, he went into the stands and
Yeah.
got from not an opposing person.
Yeah.
Uh,
Really, really dumb. To wrap up, let's kind of go around the horn. What are some of the things that we're looking forward to this weekend coming up in our conferences? Robbie, what's happening in the ACC?
Stanford making a big East Coast swing. They're hit 3 duels this weekend. Ayers returning to Princeton on Thursday night at NC State, which is going to be a fantastic duel Friday night, and then Duke on Sunday. Virginia is at UNC, and Pitt is at Virginia Tech. I think it's in Blacksburg. Um, some good ones. I think the Pitt Virginia Tech is going to be really good at the upper weights. Stanford NC State, they actually match up really, really well, and I think it has a potential to be a really close duel.
Austin, what's happening with the smart guys?
Thursday, we got a little Ivy League versus EIWA action, Lehigh at Penn. I'll be on the call for that Thursday night, 7 p.m. Friday, I will be at the Eagles parade. Congrats to the Eagles. Saturday, we have Cornell at Arizona State. Before Arizona State had a bunch of transfers that looked like a good matchup this offseason. We'll probably still see some good matches there. And then Sunday is the match of America's teams. Army hosts Navy up there at West Point. Should be a really good bout. Navy so far undefeated in the IWA. Army has one loss, but should be a good match like always. Like last year, it came down to 1 point difference, and Navy won it last year, so they're looking to repeat that away on the road at Army West Point. Should be a good one.
Yeah. Nice. Kevin, Big Ten?
Yeah, well, sure. What most people are excited to hear about is Michigan State's going to be taking on Rutgers on Friday, followed by Michigan on Sunday. They are
Battle for the mitten.
They currently have a perfect record in the Big Ten in the bad way. But no, I'm excited for Michigan State. That's always a good one. Probably more, generically acceptable as an exciting duel would be something like an Iowa, Minnesota this Friday. That'll be 9 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Earlier than that, you're going to get Penn State and Ohio State on Friday, 7 p.m. So, I mean, those are the two big ones to kick the weekend off. That'll be pretty cool. And then as soon as I scroll down, yeah, that's Penn State, Ohio State. Oh, and then Sunday, that's what it was. Penn State, Illinois. That should also be a good one with some decent matches at some of those weights. So should be fun. But yeah, Friday night's going to be badass.
Yeah. In the Big 12, Oklahoma State actually has the week off. They don't wrestle again until the 23rd when they wrestle Iowa. So they have the week off, but then we've got Iowa State versus UNI, and that one should be pretty good. Some pretty good matches in that one. It's at UNI. It's their senior day. So yeah, looks like on their schedule it's going to be a purple out is what we're getting. So some good wrestling going to be happening. I think what else do we have in the Big 12?
Purple out really doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't. But it probably looks pretty cool. So yeah, UNI and Iowa State. I'm trying to get to the other duels. See what else is happening in the Big 12. I'm not seeing it right now. But I'm looking forward to that Penn State and Ohio State match. I think it'll be a lot of fun. The heavyweight match will obviously be one that people are looking forward to, and then obviously the one at 141 as well will be a lot of fun. I mean, is what's his name at Ben Davino? Is he done at 33? Does he have any other days left?
Feel like I've seen him a lot. I don't think he can't possibly have any more days left.
Yeah, I think he's probably done. No, I mean it would be if Davis was back, it'd be cool to see how he matched up against Braden Davis. If if Davis was back in the lineup.
It's like he has 4 days, 4 dates used.
So he has one more.
Look, WrestleStat, yeah, he did 3 opens, well, 2 opens and Midlands, which I assume he was unattached, and then 4 duels he's hit so far.
Well, he was. I think he in the first semester you have to be attached. The second semester you can be unattached is how I understand the rule. Is you have to wrestle attached in the first semester. And then the second half you can wrestle in as many things as you want, like unattached or whatever else.
Okay.
But that's I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I think I saw somebody say that somewhere, but I could honestly be wrong. It could be whatever it is. You just get 5 dates and it's just 5 dates. That's how I thought it was, and then I had seen somebody say it somewhere otherwise. Other things happened in the Big 12. Austin, you mentioned that Cornell wrestled in Arizona State. But then there's Northern Colorado and Utah Valley, and then Wyoming wrestling Air Force as well. And then NDSU wrestling Cal Baptist. Trying to see what other stuff is happening. NDSU has a couple of duels. Yeah. So NDSU is doing a little California tour. It looks like Little Rock is also headed out to Bakersfield. So they'll wrestle them there. Yeah, good amount of wrestling going on this weekend in the Big 12. But the big one that I think everybody will be paying attention to is the Iowa State, Northern Iowa in the Big 12. So should be a lot of fun, a lot of really good wrestling. Obviously, a lot of Big 10 eyes will be on Big 10 Network this weekend.
So we should have Stephen Little Ferrari then, right?
And I don't know. It doesn't. It's not. That's the thing is it's not here. Like very awkwardly. Like it's happening. It says that it's happening at Bakersfield.
Doesn't show up on their upcoming matches.
But it doesn't
216.
say. It doesn't say that Little Rock is wrestling Bakersfield. At least on this schedule that I'm looking at on the Big 12 website.
On WrestleStat, it's showing it.
Has it, yeah.
Yeah. So hey, if it happens, then great. I mean, Ferrari can probably use the competition because he's had 13 matches or 15 matches against guys that are nowhere close to the top 5. So hopefully we see it. Gentlemen, any other things you want to put in here before we wrap it up?
157 at NC State Stanford could be the wildest match of the year. Gregor Shalakian and Ed Scott, just headlocks everywhere. So that one should be pretty fun.
What's the over-under on headlocks? What do you think?
17.
I was going to say at least 3 attempts, at least 3.5 attempts. I'll give at least 3.5 attempts. That way each guy can kind of go back and forth. And yeah, so we'll see. But gentlemen, that's everything that I got. Hopefully we have another really good weekend of wrestling, which we normally do. Hopefully it always lacks controversy, but let's face it, we're not robots. So it's probably going to happen anyway. Stay on the bench. But yeah, let's have some fun. Let's watch some wrestling. And Robbie, stay warm. You guys got what, like 13, 12 inches of snow.
The state of Virginia is going to be shut down for a month. So yeah. We got like 9 inches right now. So be chilly.
Sounds like a good night for her. Anyway, good night, fellas.